Weird and creepy looking creatures that know your deep dark secrets? Yeah, we can definitely work with this. Hello, my name is Matt and welcome to My Hidden Nerdy Side, a channel created by a nerd who doesn't have many nerdy friends and so I must rant to you. Today we are going to be tackling a monster that I think has some interesting lore that is perfect for creating some wacky D&D encounters, the Nothic. We're going to talk about their lore, background info, and abilities, and then build an encounter you can steal, modify, and plop directly into your D&D games. With this encounter, we're going to create an ascent up a mage tower that contains a bunch of illusionary shenanigans that target specific party members, which ultimately leads them to the top of the tower where they're going to have to make a choice that will alter the entire course of their campaign. Now, if you are well aware of the lore and mechanics behind the Nothic, then feel free to pop on over to the timestamp right here so you can jump straight to the encounter itself. I'll leave a clickable version in the description below. Also, if you like what I do here, stick around and subscribe, for I'll be putting out at least one of these videos every week and hopefully additional content the more this channel grows. Alright, let's take a quick look at the Nothic. The Nothic lore, info, abilities, and so on will be pulled directly from page 236 of the Monster Manual. Nothic are described as being intelligent and having an unnerving malevolence, who carefully watch and assess the creatures they come across. Why they do this depends on the Nothic, but it hints at the fact they aren't ones to just spring into combat willy-nilly. Nothics are born from previous mages. You see, some wizards try to discover powerful magical secrets and as a result become cursed and turn into Nothics. In traditional D&D lore, this curse was left behind by Vecna, who some Critical Role fans may be familiar with. But in short, Vecna is a powerful lich who in some worlds is now known as the God of Secrets. The punishment for uncovering these secrets? Becoming Nothic, of course. This is an interesting piece of lore, but most homebrew worlds don't involve Vecna, so we're going to alter that point slightly for this encounter. Once a wizard gets turned into a Nothic, it has no recollection of its former self, but they do inhabit a strange and vague sense that their condition is reversible. However, this is a false sense of hope created by the curse as an additional form of punishment. Because of this, they are known to be found in places with a wealth of magical knowledge, such as arcane academies and mage towers. Nothic have a fairly unique ability, which we'll cover more in a bit, but with this ability they are able to extract knowledge from other creatures. This allows them to know many unknown and forbidden secrets. These secrets are usually up for sale, and offering a Nothic a magic item or two is a surefire way to obtain these secrets. Now, looking at their stat block, which can be found on page 236 of the Monster Manual or by using the D&D Beyond link below, they are fairly weak creatures, so using them against higher level parties will take a bit of creativity. They do have multi-attack with 2 claw attacks, but their Rotting Gaze and Weird Insight are their more interesting abilities, and the ones we'll be using primarily in this encounter. With their Rotting Gaze, a Nothic can make any creature they see that's within 30 feet of them make a DC 12 con save or take 3d6 necrotic damage. Gaze abilities are always interesting because players have the ability to avoid gaze attacks, but this is at the cost of their vision on the target, meaning they either can't attack the target since they don't know where it is, or at best have disadvantage. A Nothic's Weird Insight is a fairly unique ability to them since it requires its target to make a deception check against its insight. If the creature fails, the Nothic can learn one fact or secret about the target. This ability can be used effectively in and out of combat. The role-playing opportunities of being able to learn a target's secrets with this ability are awesome, and we'll definitely be taking advantage of that in our upcoming encounter. But in combat, I could see this being useful to give the Nothic and their allies an advantage. For example, let's say your party's bard is carrying an item you need for a quest, but a lich is also after that item. So, while you're in combat, the lich uses a Nothic subordinate to read the cleric's mind in order to find out who has the item so the lich knows who to kill first. So, now that we've gone over the Nothic's lore, basic info, and abilities, let's start crafting an encounter. This encounter will be aimed at parties level 4 to 7 depending on how difficult you want to make it and last roughly 1 to 2 sessions depending on how much you want to stretch it out. The party's motivation should always be tailored to the campaign, but for the sake of this encounter we'll say your party has heard there have recently been creatures harassing travelers or NPCs they care about and they've been hired to check it out. So, your party will travel through the forest, over some hills, and follow the trail you create for them until they eventually reach a tall mage tower, which is seemingly in the middle of nowhere. The walls will have the occasional crack, it'll be fairly filthy inside, and whatever other flavor you like. Upon stepping inside the mage tower, have the entire party make an insight check. This insight check will be against a group of Nothics using their weird insight ability. With every party member that fails the check, a Nothic will learn a secret about them. This will come in handy later. However, the party won't see the Nothics doing this, since the Nothics will be hiding behind a piece of hallucinatory terrain to make it look like it's part of the wall, which additionally will be covering a wall of force. Behind this wall of force will be a secret passageway the Nothic can use to creep around the mage tower undisturbed. Whether your party or not discovers this really doesn't matter, since they'll be too low leveled to really do anything about the wall of force. But if you want to, you can remove the wall of force entirely and let your party try and chase the Nothics through their secret passageway to create a little chase scene chaos. Now, it doesn't say specifically in the monster manual that the target knows their mind is being read by the Nothic when they use this ability, so the party won't know what happened. So using what the Nothics obtain, we're going to create a few trials your party may encounter trying to ascend the tower. Now, a big DM power play would be to create a unique encounter based on the secrets the Nothic obtain from each and every party member, and then implement the encounters within the mage tower based on who failed. Now, since I don't know your specific party's exact makeup, backstories, and whatever, we'll create a few scenarios that will work for the majority of parties. In most parties, there is someone who is particularly greedy, so while traveling up the tower, you can have someone sleeping at a desk. Laying next to them is a key and also a bag of platinum. Being low-leveled, if the prospect of a key that potentially opens up something valuable doesn't pique your shifty rogue's interest, a big fat bag of platinum will. As they try to sneak up on the key and the bag, a glyph of warding goes off and sets them ablaze. And as they pat out the flames, they realize that the man, the key, and the bag were just illusions. This is a nice first encounter to throw at them for two reasons. One, it makes them have to panic about the fact that there's someone higher up in the tower that heard the explosion, adding another layer of tension. And two, it lets them know about the type of illusionary shenanigans they can expect later. So even though your rogue is a little burnt, it actually helps the party ascend the tower with fewer injuries. This next one can be used with any party. I call it the Room of No Secrets. As your party continues upward, they will reach a room, and this room will be completely bare. But then all of a sudden, illusions will appear. These illusions will be acted out memories and secrets the Nothics learned about certain party members. Maybe the bard got drunk and nicked some of the barbarian's coin. Maybe the wizard used to experiment on human beings before they joined the party. Maybe the warlock serves a patron that the party despises but doesn't know that the warlock follows them. Essentially, this room is used as a way to empty out some dirty laundry the Nothics learned about your party to try and get the party to turn on each other. Since most games start around level 2 or 3, your party should have enough in their backstory and enough interactions with the world and with each other for the DM to pull from by the time they receive this quest. Now, don't spill anything you know is actually going to upset your players, because after all, D&D is supposed to be a fun game. But using this room right could lead to some hilarious and interesting role-playing scenarios. To spice it up even further, you could toss in some illusions of memories that are completely untrue to throw off your party and make them have to think about which ones are real and which ones are fake. Lastly, one other Mage Tower room you can implement with any party makeup is the Room of 1,000 Nothics. Now, there won't actually be 1,000, but this room is the last room before the top of the tower in a last-ditch effort to keep the party out. There will be a group of several Nothics that will come out of the hallucinatory walls they have been creeping in this whole time and attack the players. However, when this happens, dozens of illusionary Nothics will appear and they'll begin to run and intertwine in order to confuse the players. This will lead to your party having to try and pick out the real Nothics from the fake ones, adding one more layer to the combat. And if your party try to avert their eyes from the Nothic's rotting gaze ability, this will add yet another layer to combat as they now blindly swing their swords or cast their spells. But eventually, they will reach the top room of the tower. The door will be locked, but it won't be difficult to break down. However, if they knock or call out, they will hear someone in the room call out to them, and they'll let them come inside if all the Nothics are dead. In the top of the tower, there will be a tiefling mage, or whichever race you like, who has bits and pieces of their body that look similar to a Nothic. The mage, who we'll call Valari, will explain he and his colleagues were messing with powerful magic and as a result slowly turned into Nothics. Valari will explain it's no ordinary curse, but he has discovered a way to break it. However, doing so causes undead spirits to spawn and attack him, which interrupts the ritual he needs to cast. He will then offer a reward for your party to fend off the spirits. This could be the location of a treasure hoard, magic items, knowledge your party needs, or whatever you like. If they accept, Valari will perform the ritual. Some sort of spirits will emerge and attack him, and your party must keep him from being hit or the ritual is interrupted. You could use ghosts, wraiths, or whatever you like, but after a minute the ritual is complete and his body turns back to normal. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said your party is going to have to make a choice that will significantly alter their campaign. And that choice is whether or not to help Valari. You see, Valari is actually incredibly evil. The travelers that were being attacked were attacked by Nothics at his command, in order to draw adventurers to him. And all of the illusionary shenanigans going on in the tower were created by him once he extracted the info from the Nothics. He did this in order to test the people entering the tower to make sure they were strong enough to fight off the spirits that would attack him during the ritual. The mage tower used to belong to a powerful and well-respected mage, and Valari knew he was the only one who could stand against him. So he led his followers to the mage tower and killed him. However, with his dying breath, the mage cursed Valari and his followers, turning them into Nothics and binding Valari to the tower, forcing him to stay there until the end of his days. Valari was able to resist the Nothic transformation, however, he was partially turned, was severely weakened, and made unable to leave the tower. Now that Valari is free, he can now become an evil NPC your party encounters in the future, or even the big bad evil guy of your entire campaign. A BBEG your party created themselves? Now that's one hell of a story. It is possible for your party to find this out beforehand. You could have written notes in the tower that allude to the fight between the mages. You could have stories that hint at Valari's existence told by random NPCs many sessions in advance, or any other way you see fit. But either way, your party is either going to kill a dangerous threat they can feel awesome about figuring out, or they'll unleash an ultimate evil they'll feel responsible for and motivated to deal with personally. Now this encounter already leads to some fun combat, interesting role-playing, and potentially serious consequences. But how do we make it even spicier? Well, maybe the Nothics are total trolls and only reveal secrets the party members find really embarrassing to create a little more humor in this encounter. Maybe after Valari is free, he recruits the party to carry out a mission that is disguised as a noble cause, but is actually something that benefits him personally, like clearing out an old laboratory so he can come in and use it later. And finally, maybe Valari leaves the tower first and then blows up the foundation in order to kill off the party to hide the fact he still lives, creating an intense survival situation where your party will have to jump out windows, sprint down the stairs, or anything else they can do to survive before the tower collapses on top of them. But of course, these are just some of the ways you can use Nothics in your Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. There are tons of different ways to take this encounter and spice it up, so please, let me know what you would do in the comment section below so I can nerd out over it and smack myself in the head for not thinking of it. I'm going to be putting out at least one of these videos a week, so feel free to subscribe and share this around if you liked it, and stay tuned for upcoming content. Thanks for watching and indulging my hidden nerdy side.